Chapter 1, we covered how to write a Python program and use the tests that I've given you to ensure that the program is working. And I also spent a lot of time talking about how I think a well-structured and well-written Python program should look, and how we can use the new.py program to create a program. So we're going to use that here in the first exercise. The first video I'm going to create here, or maybe a couple videos, is to describe the program that you should write, and hopefully give you enough background so that you can write it and the tests are provided. And then you'll write it using those tests, and then I will have more afterwards to say about how I chose to write my version. So in this one, it's called the crow's nest. The crow's nest is this little bucket on top of a mast that a sailor would sit there and shout out things that needed to be avoided or chased. For instance, we're find some ship that we want to chase down and plunder. So here, the program is going to receive as its input some word like a narwhal, and in that case, it's going to say, "Ahoy, Captain A. Narwhal," off the larboard bow, because narwhal starts with a consonant. But if the given word starts with a vowel, like octopus, then it's going to create, "Ahoy, Captain, an octopus," off the larboard bow. Hopefully you're looking at this program and thinking about the way that we wrote the hello program, and you're thinking about the version that we wrote where we first introduced argparse, and we had a positional argument called name, and we took that name and we said hello, comma, name, exclamation point. This is almost exactly that program, except that we have to do one additional thing, which is to choose the correct article. So hopefully already you kind of have an idea of where to start. When we run this program with no arguments, it should print a usage here saying what is required. And if we run this with -h or --help, it should print a longer usage statement. And here's what it looks like when all the tests are passing. So how do we get started? As normal, I'm going to say that the first thing that you should do is to maybe start by running the test suite and just see what it looks like to fail completely. So let's go into the O2 crow's nest directory, and if we run make test, again, looking at the make file, if we run make test, make is going to look for the existence of a make file, and it's going to look for the test target, and it's going to run this command. So we can either run make test or we can run this command here. The first thing that it's going to see is that we have not yet created the program. Test exists is what it's failing. And this is a lot of information to try to parse, but essentially it's very difficult to see, but it's looking for the existence of this program, crowsnest.py. And we ran this with the -x flag, which says stop running tests as soon as you encounter one failure. And the first failure is that the program doesn't exist, so there's really no point in going further than that. So we need to create a program called crow's nest. Now, if I simply created a file called crow's nest, that would pass the first test. But let's go a step beyond that. Let's actually use the new.py program to create it. Now, there's a couple different ways I could run it. From this directory, I can do ... to say the parent directory, and then going back down into the bin directory, there's the new.py. So I could run ... bin new.py and tell it to create the crow's nest, or I can go to the parent directory by cd ... and here I'm in the top level of the Tiny Python projects directory, and from here I can say bin new.py. And I want to create the program inside the crow's nest directory because that's where the test lives. And it needs to be called crowsnest.py. Exactly that program. So that's one way to create the program. Another way to create the program, I could copy the template.py to the O2 crow's nest, and I could run that command. But I've already created it with the bin new.py, so I'll just go ahead and stick with that. If we look at the crow's nest program, we see that we have created something, It is just the default arguments. It's what we saw from the chapter 1. But if we go into the O2 crow's nest directory and we run it without having done anything, we have a program that creates a usage and accepts quite a few different kinds of arguments. So that's a really good place to start.